I'm starting. Good morning, Phoenix Union. Today is Tuesday, November 7th. Ms. Haggerty, please take it away.
We're going to add the link for the presentation to the Q&A if you guys want to use your laptops, and we'll try to project from here as well. Good morning.
Good morning.
We're going to try to share you into our presentation, so just give me 1 second.
Sorry, I couldn't quite hear you.
We're going to add you to our presentation, so you can go live in a minute. Just 1 second. And is everyone able to hear us?
I can.
Okay, I think you're able to start, sir.
Oh, fantastic. Well, hello everyone. I'm really excited to be here. My name is Chris George. I'm the Dean of Admission and Financial Aid at Olaf College. I have the opportunity to recruit students from Arizona, and I'm sorry that I couldn't visit your high school when I was in town a couple weeks ago, but I'm really happy to have this opportunity to talk a little about Olaf College and what we offer, and yeah, learn a little more about our college. But to kind of kick it off, I thought I'd just share a little bit more where Olaf's located and who we are. We're located in Northfield, Minnesota, which is about 45 minutes south of Minneapolis, St. Paul. We're grateful and stand on the homelands of the Wakapute Bay and the Dakota Nation here in Minnesota, and that we're very grateful that we've been able to that they've stored the land throughout the generations, and that we're continuing. We have a commitment to this group and the land that we're on. I feel very fortunate to be on that. So I'm going to kind of just go through, do some introduction, talk about the college, and then if there's questions at the end, I'm happy to do that as well. But give a little sense of who we are. We're a community of 3,000 students that come from 49 states, more than 100 countries. Most of our students come from outside the state, but we're a predominantly white institution, but we've been changing what that looks like over the last couple decades, to the point where a third of our students don't identify as a domestic white student anymore, and that's a far cry from where we were, but it's a place where we're moving forward times, and we still want to keep improving on it. We're happy where we're at, but we want to see where we can continue to improve and get better about that. Think about St. Olaf, and what I want to talk about, what I think is important to know, is we're a residential campus. All of our students live on campus all 4 years. And so that notion of what does it mean to be a residential campus, things that you'll see on campus for us. We have one campus dining hall, as the photo shows, where our students eat together, family style, and that opportunity to engage and connect. We have first year housing, we have townhomes to live on, we have special interest housing, 200 plus organizations. And so there's plenty of opportunities for students to get engaged. And so as you think about your college application or your college process and where you might go to school, you're going to spend maybe 2 to 3 hours actually in class. You're going to spend 20 plus hours somewhere outside of class. And so a residential campus allows you to connect with students and be part of the St. Olaf community in a lot of different ways. And this is one way that we think about that. As we think about, how else do you connect and how else do you know? And think about where can you connect to the different services we provide. And so we have 3 here, talk about. We have SOAR, which is our orientation program, the St. Olaf Orientation Academic Resources and support. And so that's an opportunity really to get a sense of what St. Olaf's all about. We have our Taylor Center for Equity and Inclusion, opportunity for students to really think about equity and inclusion work. It's a home for students to connect and to gather. Programming happens out of there. They do an annual Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Symposium. This year's going to be happening on April 2nd. And it's just a great coming together for the campus to talk about how we can continue to forward DEI initiatives here on our campus. So it's important to think about St. Olaf College and think about who we are. We're a school that has saint in its name. And as we talk about that and think about that, what does that mean? We're a Lutheran, we're affiliated with the Lutheran Church. And I always think about that in terms of my own kind of journey through and what does that mean to be a school that has a Lutheran affiliation. I grew up Catholic and then came to a Lutheran college and graduated from Lutheran College, and then eventually met my wife, and my wife identifies as Jewish. And then I've adopted that as my own faith. And as my own kind of experience that, both as a student who was here, but then as someone who's worked here for the last 10 years, it's a place where we can talk about faith on campus. And it's not necessarily that we want you to believe any particular faith, but you have an opportunity to think about faith in relationship to your own learning. And you have an opportunity to discuss it. And it's something I really find a lot of value in, the opportunity to have that as a piece of discussion. It's a piece of who I am. It's a piece of who many of our students are. But we have all major faiths represented in our student body. And we have our Lutheran Center that really helps us provide and think about how can we have interreligious dialogue amongst us here on campus. So think about academics and what does it mean? You think about college and why you want to go to college and what you want to do. These opportunities for students really have personal connections. And I think that's the hallmark of the St. Olaf experience. You think about a residential place, but then be able to connect, and you're going to get to be known by your professors. Very rarely are we in big sessions. We don't do classes on Zoom. We have opportunities for you to engage. Professors are going to know your name. If you miss class, they're going to know who you are. But we know that making connections with faculty is a really important piece of the success that students have, both in the classroom, but once they leave as well, as they think about their collegiate experience. And so, 12-to-1 faculty ratio, average class size is 23. Academic Success Center that does a lot of work to support students on their journey to be successful. And so there's lots of support to think about this really great personalized experiences, but also a great opportunity to think about the education that St. Olaf can provide. And we do that through 80+ majors concentrations, which is our version of a minor programs. We have an interesting calendar that I think allows some uniqueness in learning that goes on campus. And so we call it a 4-1-4, which means students will take 4 classes in the fall semester. They take 1 class during the month of January, and then they take 4 classes in the spring semester. And that month of January really offers opportunities for students to do internships, to study abroad. As you can see, more than 90% of our students have an internship experience. And we know that's an important piece of the college experience, because what you do on campus, we want it to translate to what you're going to do off campus as well, and the success that you have when you leave St. Olaf College. And that could be whether it's getting a job and having employment, but it also could be in terms of going off and getting further graduate degrees. And we're doing a really great job in terms of the number of students that we can produce that go on to get doctoral degrees. It's a PhD, a JD, MDs, things along those lines. So as I talked about before, that January term and the opportunity to study abroad, something that's really important to us at St. Olaf College is this opportunity to study abroad. We have 100+ programs in 40 countries that go on 6 of the 7 continents. So we don't send students to Antarctica, but students can travel abroad for a semester, a year, or even just the month of January. Most of our students will travel abroad for the month of January. One of the things that makes it unique about our study abroad program is that it's the things that we offer. Most of the students are traveling abroad with our faculty and with fellow St. Olaf students. And so you get that opportunity to continue the conversations you might have on campus, have it off campus. This makes it really easy for the coursework to transfer back. Our students are able to graduate on time in the 4-year that we want. And then ultimately, 3 out of every 4 students goes off and does a study abroad trip. And that ranks us typically number 1 or number 2 in the country for the number of students that go to study abroad. And so that's an important piece of the St. Olaf experience. As we think about wanting to find individuals of action and substance that want to make an impact in the world, we want them to experience the world and to see what kind of mark that they can make on the world. An important piece of our residential experience is fine arts, and really think about music as one of those things. And so I always like to say music just happens on St. Olaf's campus. Whether it's just walking around campus and hear someone singing, there are pianos in all of our buildings on campus. And so that there's opportunities for students to do dance, theater, art, music. Like I said, one third of our students are involved in music. And so there's lots of ways to get involved and have that piece complement your academic going. And so it can be an academic piece or it can be an extracurricular piece. Students can choose to go either way. I think that's one of the things what's unique about St. Olaf is some students might think about a music program and think it's a conservatory. It's not for me. That's not the case for St. Olaf. Our music majors are taking classes right alongside all our other majors, as well as some of our people who are singing and producing and playing are majoring in physics, they're majoring in English, they're majoring in political science. But the music, the art, the theater, and dance are an extracurricular activity that they choose to engage in. As a residential campus as well, athletics is another important piece, 26 varsity sports, 26 club sports, and lots of different fun intramural sports that students can participate in. One of the ones always, one that's unique to St. Olaf is we have broomball. And for students in Arizona, you might be well, what is broomball? It's a game that kind of combines soccer and hockey. We play on a sheet of ice. So it's one way that we kind of embrace the winter here on campus, and students will play broomball. You run around on your just regular shoes. You're hitting a ball with a stick, but having a lot of fun doing that. Might also be maybe intramural or intertube water polo, another fun intramural sport that students participate in. So it's a very active campus, whether it's in the fine arts or in athletics. Our students are really engaged in what they're doing. But obviously what you do on campus is an important piece, the academics you study, but really want to think about what you're going to do when you leave St. Olaf and how does that translate in what we're able to do. We did it through our Piper Center for Vocation and Career. It's very intentionally named Vocation and Career. And obviously you think about Career Center as an important piece. We want to take that a step further and really think about how can you best use your skills and talents to make an impact on the world. And that's really the vocation piece, is thinking about what can you do to best think about your skills and talents. And you can see we do lots of things for students to support internships, but it really begins in your freshman year. And I think that's the important thing to remember. We want students who are thinking about what they're going to do when they leave from the very first day. That doesn't mean you have your job figured out. That doesn't mean that you know exactly what it's going to be. We want you to start thinking about that exploration over the 4 years, engaging with our peer coaches, with our professional coaches, thinking about what kind of internships you might be, what kind of major you might want to have, and how you can bring those together. And I think that's one of the beauties of a liberal arts education is we want you to try lots of things. We want you to have breadth, and then you have depth. Your major is not going to equal your job, and that's okay, because we want you to give you the skills to be successful in any job, and think about jobs that might not even exist at this point. The Career Center that we have on campus is really intentional to help you think about how that can grow and how you can leverage your skills and experiences on campus. So I want to, that's kind of a little bit about St. Olaf College and give you a sense of who we are. Let me give you a little context about students who might be thinking about applying in the application process. So for us, it's really important to think about holistic review. And you can see in the center of the O of the OLI, and we call ourselves OLIs as kind of our school mascot and name. What's most important to us is your work in high school, your high school GPA, the academic rigor that you've taken, and thinking about your school. And so that's going to be the most important piece. But all these other pieces we take into account as we review applications, whether it's your activities, demonstrated interest, we're test optional, the letters of recommendation. And so some students might be seniors and thinking about applying, have already applied to St. Olaf. We're really looking at this in a holistic sense of trying to think about who this student is and will they be a member of a community that I think really does help us think about who can make an impact on the world, who can make an impact on our community, and really be successful on the Hill. So that's that's an important piece of how we think about applications. Financially, it's an important piece, and paying for college is obviously going to be on the minds of many people. And so our comprehensive fee, which is tuition fees, housing, and meals, this year is $70,000. And when I say that, I'm sure everyone in the room always has a pause. It has a pause for me, like, oh, how does that happen? We really work to make St. Olaf affordable for all the students that we're able to admit. We do it through merit scholarships, need-based financial aid. As you can see, our average need-based financial aid is almost $50,000 a year. Nearly all of our students receive a St. Olaf Grantor Scholarship, with 70% receiving need-based financial aid. We have academic scholarships that go from $25,000 to $33,000 a year. And we also have fine arts scholarships in music, theater, art, and dance that go from $2,000 to $15,000 a year. It's important to note that you do not have to major in art, theater, music, and dance to be eligible for those scholarships. You just need to participate in that program. So that's an opportunity to do that. There's a separate application, though, for the fine arts scholarships. And then here's really how we think about our commitment to affordability. We're one of 80 schools that need 100% of demonstrated financial need. And when I say that, that doesn't necessarily resonate with people. And we've tried to break it down and give you some examples of what that means and how we make that commitment. And so if you think about typical families making less than $90,000, that means St. Olaf's going to be able to provide grants and scholarships that cover the full tuition. Now, there's still housing and meals and additional costs, but full tuition is typically what we can cover for families making $90,000 or less. As you can see, there's graduated scale that goes to $46,000 for the next level, $39,000. We are able to offer need-based aid for families making more of that as well. But this is just to provide a quick example of how we try to make St. Olaf affordable to families. If you have questions and you want to do that, we do use My Intuition. Create a quick sense of costs. It's 8 questions, takes about 6 minutes for a family. You can go to our My Intuition net price calculator. And then last, I just touch on the fact that Michigan financial aid deadlines, our first deadline was last week, November 1st. We have a second deadline for early decision 2 and regular decision coming on January 15th. You can see our notification dates are on the right-hand side between February, December for the early ones, and then February happens for the early decision and regular decision that comes in January. And then we guarantee students who apply early decision at least $23,000 in St. Olaf scholarships. So if you know St. Olaf's the place you want to be, we guarantee at least a minimum of $23,000 for that. And so this is my team that I get to work with. Fantastic team, and you know, I'm really excited to be able to have this opportunity to talk with you all and see if there's any questions from the group about St. Olaf College that I can answer.
We do have some questions for you, sir. We have some questions in regard, I think one of the biggest questions here in the chat is about FAFSA. How are you guys handling that? You know that it's coming out late. So is there something that you want us to keep in mind in regard to the priority deadlines?
Yeah, so for us, we use two financial aid applications. We use the CSS profile, which is the eligibility for St. Olaf aid. And so that application is available now, and we want students to complete that we want students to complete that along with the application deadline. So we want the CSS profile due if you applied early, would have been due last week. We could still accept those. If you're going to be applying on January 15th, both the FAFSA and the CSS profile. All right, I have a bloody nose. Not anticipate that. So I'm going to hold my nose and talk a little bit. I apologize.
Nice.
So the FAFSA and the CSS profile will be available on January, or we want to have submitted by January 15th, knowing that the FAFSA should be available sometime in the month of December.
Perfect. And I believe we have a study abroad question. Just 1 second.
Yeah.
I can actually speak to that. This is Meryl here at College Depot. You mentioned how you have a really popular study abroad program. So question about, I don't know if you can answer this, what the most popular program might be. And then also if there's some that are really popular, do you limit the number of students that are accepted into those particular study abroad programs?
Yeah. So, I mean, most students are going to study abroad during the month of January. But most of the programs are limited in size, and I think that's, you know, to try to keep it a manageable size. Typically, groups are 25 students or less. Now, you know, some of the popular ones that I think about. So the January ones that often come up are theater in London. Spend 25 days going to 20 plus shows in London. It might be doing the Peruvian medical experience and having an opportunity to see rural medicine in Peru over the month of January. One of our semester-long programs that's been incredibly popular and has a long history for St. Olaf is our global semester. And so the students are able, and that's limited to 25 students. There's no additional cost to go abroad this one, but students will go to 3 to 5 different countries over the course of 4 months with classmates and with 2 St. Olaf faculty members. It has changed. Where we've gone has changed a little bit now with the pandemic and based on things, but lately it has been it's made a stop in Africa, a stop in South America, and typically a stop somewhere in Southeast Asia over those 4 months. So there's just a few of the programs. But like I said, we have 100 different programs. You know, and students, it doesn't even have to align with your major. Some might align with your major, some might not. Most of these classes are coming right back to qualify you for, or they're going to qualify St. Olaf credits. And we have financial aid for those as well. And so it's most for many students who have financial need, we're able to cover a portion, if not all, the additional costs to be able to study abroad, because we think it's an important piece of the experience here at St. Olaf.
Thank you so much. That's great information. One more question. I'm not sure if you can answer this. I know that you're a Posse partner school, and just wanted maybe to speak on that, like what your how many, if you had a cohort last year, if any students recently have been from this area as well.
Yeah. So we have been a Posse partner school for the last 10 years, and we've had a virtual Posse that includes students from Arizona. For this will be our 3rd year of bringing students virtual Posse, and our virtual Posse students could come from lots of places in the United States, but Arizona and specifically the Phoenix area we've had multiple students coming from there. The Posse program, we work with them, and if you're selected as a Posse scholar, the St. Olaf College provides you with a full tuition scholarship, but it also, you know, and then if you have financial need, there can be additional resources that cover the housing and meal costs. And so that process, I think at this point for high school seniors is well up, it's close to the finalist stage. But I know those, each summer, juniors are able to be nominated for that process.
Thank you so much. I think we have another question in regards financial aid packages. How soon after priority deadlines should they be expecting a financial aid package from your school?
Yeah, so after our admission decision, typically within about 2 weeks, our financial aid comes out within 2 weeks of our admission decision. So that's one of the reasons we use the CSS profile. So students who have applied early would get the CS profile allows us to estimate what federal and state, federal aid would be for students to get an estimate of what the aid is going to be. It's going to be pretty close. So it falls within very short time frame after an admission decision is made. Merit scholarship information comes with the offer of admission, but any additional need-based aid happens about 2 weeks later.
Okay. Another question, as you might know, our Phoenix Union High School District is mostly constructed of students who are first-generation college students. What are some, you could say, benefits or opportunities that your school could offer those students?
Yeah, one of the things I can share just to know that 1 in 5 of our students that we enroll are the first generation of their family to come to St. Olaf College. And so it's 22% of our students are first generation. Just this week, we're doing it's first generation week, kind of a national celebration, and we're doing things here on campus to provide support and talk about what St. Olaf offers. And so things that are taking place and what we have a TRIO student support services program. 40 students are accommodated each year. That's for first generation low income students. It provides a bridge program in the month of August to take a class and get your bearings to campus. Then it provides ongoing advising throughout the year. So that's one resource. There's resources that go on to our Taylor Center, a program called Connect for Success. That's very intentionally targeted towards first generation students and connect with those students. And so people working in our Center for Equity and Inclusion are thinking about that and working on that and connecting. I think our orientation program is designed for all students, but with this mind to our students who have not accessed higher education or had a family, to really get them prepared to think about what St. Olaf can offer and how to help navigate that. Our advising model, you have a faculty advisor, and then eventually at some point you might get a major advisor. But that faculty advisor is another person to support you through this whole process. And it might not be in your major. And I think that's one of the really great things is we know making connections with a faculty member is an important way to help guide you through college and even after college. I still talk with one of my faculty advisors still to this day from St. Olaf, and it's been 30 years since I graduated. And they've been a mentor for me all the way through my career. And that's one of the things when you think about a small college and what we can offer at St. Olaf is those kind of connections that can last a lifetime.
Well, thank you so much. We really appreciate you taking the time and letting us know about your school and just to talking with us today. Thank you.
No, it's really my pleasure to have this opportunity, and hopefully next fall I'll get a chance to come visit your high school. But in the meantime, people are more than welcome to contact me directly as your admission officer if there's any further questions.
That's all the questions from us. Thank you so much. You have a great day.
You too. Thanks so much. Bye.